I pushed my apartment door open with grocery bags still cutting into my fingers, expecting the usual quiet. Instead, I froze. Someone was standing in the middle of my living room. Someone who absolutely shouldn't have been there. Chloe, my daughter-in-law, stood beside two oversized suitcases, looking more like a traveler checking into a hotel than a guest entering someone's home. Her expression wasn't apologetic, not even surprised. It was annoyed, as if I had interrupted her afternoon. "Ooh, I didn't hear you come in," she said with that fake, tinkling laugh she used whenever she wanted to make the other person feel unreasonable. I didn't move from the doorway. The bags in my hands grew heavier, biting into my arms, but I didn't set them down. Something inside me snapped into place the moment I saw those suitcases. A boundary I didn't even realize I still had. "Did you ask the owner of this house before walking in?" My voice was calmer than I expected. Chloe tucked a piece of hair behind her ear, her classic stalling gesture. "Ava, please don't overthink it. Dion and I just need a few days here. The renovation noise in our condo is impossible. We figured it wouldn't bother you since, well, you live alone. And there are extra rooms here." There it was, the sentence that reduced my home to a storage unit waiting to be used. I finally walked in and placed the bags on the table. The thud echoed louder than it should have, and I saw Chloe flinch. She tried to hold her usual confidence, but the cracks were showing. "Does Dion know you're here?" I asked. Her sigh was dramatic. "Of course, it was his idea. He'll be here in a bit with the rest of our things." I didn't answer. Instead, I stared at the suitcases. Expensive, the kind she flaunted online. Meanwhile, I was still using the same worn suitcase I'd bought a decade ago. My throat tightened. "And you thought coming here without asking me was okay?" "Ava, we're family," she replied, crossing her arms. "It's just temporary. You always say this place feels empty." Empty? They always twisted that word. Before I could respond, the door opened again. Dion walked in with more bags and a wide, oblivious smile. "Hey Ma, you already know we'll just stay a week or two. You won't even notice us." He really believed that. He truly did. But he was wrong. Very wrong. Because what happened next didn't just change the week. It changed our entire relationship forever. Dion walked toward me with the same ease he'd had since childhood. The kind that came from believing my home was simply an extension of his life. He tried to kiss my cheek, but my stillness made him hesitate. "Mom, what's wrong? Did you have a rough day?" "A rough day?" As if this were about traffic or a bad cashier. "I came home to find your wife moving into my house without asking me," I said quietly. He chuckled, actually chuckled like I'd just told a joke. "Mom, come on. I called you twice this morning. You didn't pick up, so we figured we'd settle in before you got back." "You figured?" "Without talking to me." "We're not moving in," he insisted. "Just staying a few days. 2 weeks max. It's not a big deal." I watched him open my refrigerator, take a bottle of water I'd bought, and drink straight from it. That small act felt like a window into the truth. He didn't see my home as mine. "How many days exactly?" I asked. He shrugged. "A week or 2. Depends on the noise." 14 days. 14 mornings of someone else's footsteps. 14 nights of tiptoeing around my own space. And it never crossed your mind to ask me first. Dion rolled his eyes. "Mom, we're family. Why would I think you'd say no? What do you even do all day that would make this an issue?" There it was, the quiet dismissal of my entire life. I swallowed hard. "It's not about what I do. It's about this being my home." He sighed dramatically. "If it's about money, we can pitch in. Chloe even said we'd add $50 for utilities." I stared at him. $50. As if that covered the cost of peace, privacy, boundaries. "It's not about money," I whispered. He stepped closer, softening his voice. "Then what do you want, Mom? Just tell me." "You want us to buy groceries, be quiet, clean up. We can do all that." "No," I said gently. What I needed was for you to ask me before deciding for me. He looked genuinely confused, as if the idea of seeking my permission was somehow foreign. Before I could say more, Chloe appeared with a practiced sigh. Ava, we're trying our best here. We don't want to fight. We just need a place to stay. I looked at both of them, my grown son, who still saw me as a backup plan, and his wife, who treated my space like a hotel with poor customer service. Something hardened inside me, because I finally realized they weren't asking. They were expecting, but if they thought my silence meant agreement, they were about to learn something I should have taught them years ago. I walked toward the guest room, my guest room, because something inside me whispered that the story Chloe and Dion were telling didn't match reality. And I was right. The moment I pushed the door open, the truth stared back at me. Clothes spread neatly across the bed, shoes lined in pairs by the wall, a laptop plugged into my outlet, charger dangling like a permanent installation, toiletries arranged on my dresser as if they already owned the place. This wasn't a few days. This wasn't just 2 weeks. This was a full setup. A quiet takeover. I turned slowly. Dion stood in the doorway with his hands shoved into his pockets, avoiding my eyes. This is for 2 weeks, I asked. He gave a careless shrug. Chloe needs her work things, and we wanted to be comfortable, Mom, you know. Comfortable. Their comfort, never mine. I brushed past him and returned to the living room. That's when I noticed Chloe, sitting in my favorite armchair, the one I bought, after saving for months. The one where I read every morning. She looked almost at home. When she saw me, she straightened. Oh, did you want to sit here? Want? No. But she needed to understand something. This is where I sit, I said simply. She rose quickly, her confidence cracking again. Dion re-entered the room, sensing the tension. Mom, can we talk? Just the two of us. Fine. Maybe he would finally understand if it was just us. We went into the kitchen. He leaned against the counter, arms folded across his chest. Okay. Tell me what's actually bothering you. Because this isn't just about us staying here. And for the first time in decades, I told him the truth. You only come when you need something, I said. He blinked. That's not true. It is. You visit when your dog needs babysitting, when your car breaks, when you want help with something, but never, not once, have you come just to see me. Not to spend time with me, not to ask if I'm okay. That's not fair. He snapped. I call you, I text, and last week we invited you to dinner. It was Chloe's birthday, I reminded him, and you needed someone else to help pay. His jaw tightened. I continued, voice steady. I spent your entire childhood giving everything I had, and somewhere along the way, you learned that my life existed only to make yours easier. He didn't speak. He didn't deny it. He just looked offended. Mom, he said finally, you're making this bigger than it is. No. This time, I was making it exactly the size it needed to be. But I didn't know the argument was about to explode into something far darker. Words that would wound us both. Dion stared at me, breathing hard, as if everything I said was an attack he needed to defend himself from. You know what your problem is, Mom, he finally said. You've gotten too used to being alone. Now you think everyone is invading your sacred space. I felt that sentence like a slap. My problem, I said quietly, is that I taught you the wrong lesson. I taught you that love meant never saying no. He rubbed his temples. Mom, we just need a place for a bit. Why are you acting like we're moving in forever? I motioned toward the guest room. Because the way you set up my space looks like long-term living, not a short visit. He didn't respond. Instead, he walked back into the living room, frustration radiating from him. Chloe stood near the window, wiping tears that looked half real, half performative. Ava, she said softly, we didn't mean to upset you. If you want, we can pay for groceries, utilities, whatever makes it fair. Fair? They still didn't understand. I don't want your money, I said. I want respect, the kind you both expect in your own home. Dion let out a bitter laugh. So what now? You want us gone? You want your precious quiet back. And just like that, the decision became clear. Yes, I said. I want you to take your things and go. The room froze. Chloe's hand flew to her mouth. Dion's eyes widened like he couldn't process the words. You're kicking us out, he whispered. I'm asking you to leave because you came without permission, I replied. There's a difference. Dion grabbed one of the suitcases with too much force and dragged it toward the door. Chloe grabbed the other, crying openly now. Before leaving, Dion turned to me with fury burning behind his eyes. You'll regret this. Everyone will know what you did. He wanted guilt to swallow me whole. He wanted the old version of me, the woman who folded every time back. But she didn't exist anymore. If the story you tell is that I refused to help for no reason, I said calmly, then tell it. But you and I both know the truth. His jaw clenched. He walked out without another word. Chloe followed, pausing only once to whisper, I hope this peace you want is worth losing your son. The elevator doors closed behind them. Silence filled the condo, not empty, not lonely, just mine. I sat in my armchair, my hands shaking, but my spine straighter than it had been in years. The cost was high, but so is the price of losing yourself. Because that night, I didn't just protect my home. I reclaimed my life. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments what city are you watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so more people remember, no matter how old you are, it's never too late to stand up for yourself.